Have you ever thought about how strange a pelican's beak is? It is something that I've always thought about, just how stretchy and kind of like, I don't know, it's really stretchy. It contains so much pointless stuff in there. They're such weird animals, but I kind of love them. I don't know how else to explain it, but hello everybody, welcome to another top 10 video. I've only done a couple of them, but this one's gonna be a fun one, mostly because I was trying to come up with like some video ideas, and I really like making top 10s. It's like, or top 5s and top 10s. It's one of my favorite things to do. I just like making lists. Lists are cool, lists are fun, and this one is going to tackle my top 10 favorite ongoing Shonen Jump titles. Now, I'm going to give you some criteria really quick. One, it has to be currently releasing an English print. So please note that if the series has ended digitally, I don't read digitally, so I'm not going to add them to the list, or I'm not going to remove them or add, depending on that. Also, it has to have the Shonen Jump imprint. So if it has Shonen Jump Advance, things like Blue Exorcist is not going to be on here. Hunter x Hunter is not going to be on here. So just keep that in mind if you're wondering why some of those series are missing. And 3, I'm not talking about Weekly Shonen Jump. I am going to be talking about specifically the Shonen Jump imprint of VIZ Media. So that is the English releasers of basically anything Shueisha, or a lot of things Shueisha, so just keep that in mind as you're watching this. So if you're wondering like, where is insert thing here? Well, it's probably because it's not under that specific line, and it may be in Weekly Shonen Jump, but it is not in English print, so I don't read anything digitally, so if you're wondering where like that Cypher manga is, or whatever family, I don't remember. There's a couple of them that probably people will be like, oh, why is it not on here? And that's why. So yeah, basically that's it. That's like the criteria. Other than that, basically this list is comprised of 10 series that I'm really enjoying right now. The only one that I would say is a close to be pushed on here, but it only has one manga out in English. It is Akane Banashi. That series, I think further down the line, as I keep reading it, is probably going to be on here at some point. But because it only has one volume, it's definitely like my number 11. So just keep that in mind as we proceed through this video. Anyways, let us get this video started. Let us get this list started right now. Alright, so number 10 on this list is one that I've talked about a few times now, and I think deserves a little bit more recognition in my opinion, and that is going to be number 10, Dark Gathering from Kenichi Kondo. This is volume 1. There are currently 3 volumes out in English as of September 2023, and yeah, this is basically a horror series following the story about our main character, who is actually not on the cover. His name is Keitaro, but basically he is going into like high school / college, and he's kind of needs some money, so he has become a tutor for this kid here, who can see ghosts and spirits, and she is very strange and very weird, but basically everybody who's connected to this main character here is somehow connected to demons and ghosts and stuff like that, so she's trying to find out who basically stole her family away from her, and he's trying to get rid of this curse that's on his hand that looks a lot like spaghetti. But honestly, it's a really cool series. I think the horror is done really well. It gets really creepy at times. There's just some really just spooky little art here and there. The main character, or the girl character design here, she is got a really weird design. She's got main character syndrome written all over her in terms of like just being completely out there. Very strange design, but overall a really fun series, and I think it's definitely worth a check out if you like horror series. It's lower on the list because I just happen to like everything else coming up more. So yeah, this is number 10. Alright, coming into number 9, it's not going to be necessarily a shock, but that is Blue Box from Koji Miura. There are currently 6 volumes out, as I mentioned, as of September 2023, and yeah, this is a really cute little I don't know why I'm blanking. It's like a sports rom-com series featuring these 2 characters here. He's into badminton, she's into basketball. Her family plans to move away, and does actually at the beginning of the first volume, so she moves in with him. He has a big crush on her, but she doesn't know it, per se. But basically, her motivation and her, like, wanting to become better at basketball is the reason why he has begun to pursue more heavily into badminton. And yeah, they're just super cute together. I actually really enjoy the writing. I like it a lot. I think the action is done really well too. There's a lot of really good just overall panels and compositions when it comes to the sports. My only gripe, I guess, it would be I wish there was more of the sports and less of the rom-com, because the rom-com is good, but I think that the sports, the artist's done so well, I kind of wish there was more of it. But honestly, if you're going into the series expecting a sports series, it's not necessarily per se. It's kind of like in the backdrop / the back burner. But overall, yeah, it's a fun series. If you look at it as a rom-com series, it's really cute. There's a kind of a love triangle, sort of, in a way. And yeah, we're finally getting some development as of Volume 6. Well, sorta. And yeah, really excited to see where the series goes. And yeah, this is my number 9. All right, going into number 8. This is a long-running series now. It currently has 32 volumes, I think, and that is Black Clover from Yuki Tabata. This is number 8 on my list, and yeah, I think Black Clover gets a lot of flack, not necessarily for no reason. I do think it is fairly generic. It's pretty straightforward, it's very simple, but sometimes you kind of just need that. I don't know. Anyways, follows the story of our two characters, or I guess this main character here, Asta, who is a kid who is born with no magic in a world full of magic. He wants to basically become like the top wizard in the world, but it's gonna be really hard because he has no magic. But interestingly enough, he pulls out a grimoire that is basically like this one that allows him to have anti-magic in comparison to everybody else. So it's a really fun little high fantasy series. A lot of cool, interesting like magic ideas and designs. Overall, just a really fun little system that they have developed across the board. The story, like I said, is pretty cut and dry. It's nothing too crazy, but I really enjoy it, honestly. I think this is a very good shonen series. Definitely worth a read. It is kind of long, and I think the current arc is releasing really slowly. That's probably why I have it so low, but yeah, overall, fun series. Can't wait to read more of it. Alrighty, coming into number 7 is a very popular series and another one that's plagued by a really slow release schedule. I get it, but also just kind of makes it hard to remember what is going on when it releases every 3 months or so, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen. This is from Gege Akutami. It currently has 20 volumes out as of me recording this video, and yeah, it's a really fun series following Yuji Itadori, who's this guy on the front who's a super kind dude and basically eats one of the fingers of this super powerful demon named Sukuna, and yeah, he basically gains his powers, and like kind of sort of not really officially joins the Jujutsu Kaisen or Jujutsu Sorcerer schools that's located, I believe that's in Tokyo. And yeah, you meet a bunch of like weird and wacky characters. The action is a ton of fun. I really love the art. I think the art is just really fun to watch. Obviously everybody loves Gojo and Geto. They're cool, I guess. But overall, it's a pretty fun series. I've been really enjoying it. I think the current arc that's releasing in English print, which is the Calling Games, is getting a little bit long and kind of seems all over the place, which is unfortunate. It's kind of made the story bogged down quite a bit, but still, the action's still really great. A lot of the abilities are really cool, not necessarily really well explained, but I do think a lot of them are actually really interesting and really fun. Yeah, overall, I just find this to be a really fun series. I think it's definitely worth some of the hype that it gets, and I'm excited to see where it keeps going. All right, coming into number 6, this one might be a controversial vote, but I couldn't rate it any higher for the reason that I gave at the beginning is how is it doing right now, and that is One Piece from Eiichiro Oda. So I love this series. It's in my top 10. I've already mentioned it. I can't stress enough how much I love this series. However, I find Wano or Wano, I don't know, I call it Wano, I don't actually know how it's pronounced. I just find that arc is too long. It's too long, and it's not interesting enough per se. I think a lot of the fighting and like action has kind of just been bogged down, and I do like the introduction of Joy Boy. I think that is kind of cool, but like it's not enough to save the current arc for where it is. But overall, obviously, One Piece, fantastic series, follows the story of Monkey D. Luffy as he travels around the oceans, doing what he does best, trying to become the Pirate King. He basically amasses this absolutely awesome crew. Fantastic writing across the board. Really fun characters for the most part. Obviously, there are some here and there that are meh, but it's considered a masterpiece for a reason. It's a really good series. Would I say get into it now? I mean, you're 103 volumes behind if you're starting at volume 1, but I don't know. I guess it depends on if you like it or not. I'd say give it a shot, see how you feel about the first volume. If you don't like it, obviously just drop it. I mean, I don't see why you would want to continue something you don't like. But yeah, One Piece is at number 6. All right, coming in the halfway point, this is number 5. We have got ourselves Kaiju number 8 from Naoya Matsumoto. So this series, honestly, super flipping cool. I love it. It's a ton of fun. Features the main character Kafka, who is basically this dude who has been wanting to join the Kaiju forces, so like defense forces, for a long time, and he's finally gonna do it. He's an older character, I believe he's in his 30s when the series begins, and yeah, let's just say some crazy stuff happens, and he ends up becoming a Kaiju himself. So it gets a little bit crazy, a little bit wacky, because now he's a Kaiju and he's trying to join the forces that are trying to take down the Kaiju. But yeah, it's a really cool series. The action is super awesome. And it's cool to see a main character who is not just like a high schooler or whatever, or like a junior hire. It's interesting, it's fun. The Kaiju designs are actually really cool. Like I said, the action is fantastic. It is a ton of fun, and definitely worth a shot if you are a big fan of shonen series. Alright, coming in to number 4. This one should not be surprising for viewers of my channel for a long time. I talk about the series so often, so much, and that's just because I've been reading a lot of it, and I don't know, it's just a ton of fun. But that is going to be the good old-fashioned twin-star Exorcist, and that is a fantastic series by Yoshiaki Sukeno. So, featuring the characters Benio and Rokuro, who are these two people known as the twin-star Exorcists, or you eventually find out they are the twin-star Exorcists, and they are not twins. This is important to note. A lot of people get kind of like twisted on the series, thinking like, oh, they're twins, why do they gotta love each other? Ew, that's so gross. Well, if you read the series, they're not actually twins. So they're actually what they call the twin star exorcists, like I mentioned, and the twin star exorcists are basically the two most powerful exorcists, or two very powerful exorcists who are destined to have a child who is going to save them from all these evil demons and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of a weird premise, but man, this series is so flippin' awesome. The two main characters are so cool. Rokuro has like really awesome abilities. Benio is super awesome as well. You get a lot of crazy character development between the two of them, and between obviously all their friends and stuff like that. You get to meet a lot of super well-designed characters and some really interesting and fun designs across the board, especially for like the armaments and the enchantments that they use. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really fun to read. It's not like a super long read either in terms of like bogged down by a ton of text. So if you just want some straight action with some pretty good like moments where they're just talking and stuff like that, definitely give this a shot. It is super cool. I would say it is akin to Blue Exorcist in a way. Obviously I still like Blue Exorcist more. I love Blue Exorcist so much. But if you like Blue Exorcist, you're probably going to like Twin Star Exorcist. So definitely give this a shot. I believe this series has like 27 or 28 volumes in English. But yeah, it's still releasing, and you should give it a shot. It's super cool. And into the final stretch, we are in the top 3. These are my top 3 favorite currently releasing ongoing Shonen Jump series, and you're going to hopefully see why. So, number 3 goes to the fantastic, absolutely lovely, super crazy, ridiculous series, Dan to Dan from Yuki Nobu Tatsu. So there are currently 4 volumes out in English as of September 2023. And yeah, this series is flipping crazy. Basically, it follows a story about this girl here on the cover who is a believer of like demons but doesn't believe in aliens, and she meets somebody who's well, he's not on the cover here, but basically he's this dude who believes in aliens but doesn't believe in demons. So what they do is they're gonna be like, all right, I'll go to a place that's supposedly affected by demons and ghosts, and you go to a place that's supposedly affected by aliens. And lo and behold, they both exist. Where she basically gets captured by aliens, and then he gets possessed by a turbo granny. And chaos ensues, and that's basically all I could tell you without being true spoilers. But this series is so flipping crazy. It is high octane. It is non-stop. You are going to be feeling like you're driving at 100 miles per hour, and there's just no end in sight. This series is so crazy. It is so funny. The Comedy is gold. It makes me laugh every single volume. The action is also fantastic, and the art is really, really good. And yeah, really enjoying like the main characters' dynamic and kind of like their couple almost status semi. If you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this series is definitely worth a pickup. It is so funny. It is so cool. It's so action-packed. This is what I would expect from a shonen series. And yeah, give it a shot. It is super amazing. All right, coming into number 2. So number 2 and 1 were really difficult for me to truly rate. I rated the number 1 higher, and I guess you'll see why or see when. But this is Spy Family from Tatsuya Endo. Yes, I don't pronounce the X in Spy Family. I pronounce the X in Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Nothing at all. Anyways, Spy Family. Super amazing series. I love this series so flippin' much. Basically, it follows the story. I have these 3 characters. I'm really glad they have these characters on the back. But basically, you have yourself Twilight, who is the spy here in the front, and he is going to be infiltrating the opposite, like, city or like opposite country, where he's going to gain intel and try to take down this super bad guy who is basically trying to plan an attack on his country. They've been trying to keep it like diplomatic for the longest time, but there seems to be some kind of switch over there in the other country, so it is his job to try and figure it out. But the only way he's going to do that is he's going to have to form a fake family, as the name suggests, a spy family. So he meets this young lady, who you come to find out is an assassin, and she is hilarious. Basically, they get together, and yeah, they are now officially a couple / married couple, and then they also adopt a child who can also read minds. So they're all got these weird quirks. They're all super odd and bizarre. But man, the series is so cute. The action is always fantastic as always. The characters are all really likable. Wow, I just said super enjoy this series. I think this series is the perfect mix of action, of comedy, of drama, of slice of life, of coming of age. It does everything really, really well. And the art of, like I mentioned, is super great. Tatsuya Endo has a really, really fun and just kind of energetic, I think is the best way to put it, art style. It really gets you excited. It really gets you happy to see like characters be excited and happy. But you also get to see like these really awesome action moments that Tatsuya Endo has been building off of his 2 previous series, Blade of the Moon Princess and Tista, and probably something else. But those are the 2 that I have also read. And man, Spy Family is super good. It currently has 9 volumes, and I think that's the only reason why this one's a little bit lower than my number 1, and that's just because the releases are very slow. I think volume 9 really feels like it came out like 3 or 4 months ago, and I think we're getting the next volume next month in October, so it's a long, slow process. But man, this manga is so worth the read. It is so much fun, and yeah, I think it's well deserving of the number 2 spot. Ooh, excuse me. All right, number 1. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how I could truly explain the series, so I'm just going to show it. Number 1 is going to Sakamoto Days. So currently this series has 9 volumes out as of September 2023. And what can you even say? Taro Sakamoto is a former assassin who's officially not really an assassin anymore. He now runs a shop, like a kind of like a grocery store / like convenience store with his family, and they're having a grand old time until he meets up with another assassin who's this blonde kid here in the front. This kid can read minds. Isn't that interesting and fun? And yeah, Sakamoto basically gets dragged back into these like assassin / like what do you want to call it, spy world. And man, it is so flippin' insane. It's so kind of stupid and kind of just like ridiculous, but that's what I kind of love about it, is that like Dan, it's high octane, it's nonstop, it's always doing something crazy, and like the stakes and like the action just keeps getting crazier and crazier. It's kind of like watching a popcorn film, but the story's actually pretty good. So yeah, I think Sakamoto Days is like the perfect highlight of a really good shonen series. There's fantastic action. The characters are a ton of fun. You can always root for them because like Sakamoto is hilarious and kind of weird, super quiet. All the side characters for the most part are pretty well done. The villains are super creepy and super cool. Yeah. there's so much you could talk about this series, and that's not even mentioning the art. The art is also really good. I think some of the character design, or some of the characters are not necessarily the most interestingly designed, but it's so much like made up for in terms of the action. You get all these super crazy set pieces. You got people running up towers and breaking through stuff and punching somebody through like a plane, and I don't know, it's insane, it's crazy, but it is so much fun, and it's so deserving of the #1 spot. So, what, in your opinion, is your favorite currently releasing Shonen Jump series, or the Shonen Jump imprint series from VIZ Media? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think. Like, what are your favorites? What do you think of my list? Do you think that some of these should have been higher, should have not been here in general? Am I missing some volumes? Let me know, or some series. Let me know in the comments below, because those are always really fun to talk about. Lists, like I mentioned, this is always like a opinion. It's just not fact. I'm not going to be like, oh, Sakamoto Days is the best. It's my favorite and what I think is the best. Not necessarily what is actually, you know, objectively the best. But because this is art, it's never ever going to be objective. It's always going to be subjective. So, yeah. Definitely go and read. Go and have some fun. But you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things. I really appreciate it when everybody kind of just does that. And if you don't, then thanks for watching. Honestly, I really appreciate that you're even giving this a check out. Yeah, just try to avoid all the vitriol, and you know, just keep on reading. It's just entertainment, and let it be entertaining. Don't let it be like a hate-fueled thing for you. Anyways, that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I'm done with my list. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next video. Oh, bye.